Good afternoon. Thank you for taking a few moments with me today. I'm so glad you're here with me. I want to talk to you and ask you this question. What are you willing to do? I'm going to read 1 Peter 4 and verses 7 through 10, and this is in the Passion Translation. It says, since we're approaching the end of all things, be intentional, purposeful, and self-controlled so that you can be given to prayer. Above all, constantly echo God's intense love for one another, for love will be a canopy over a multitude of sins. Be compassionate to foreigners without complaining. Every believer has received grace gifts, so use them to serve one another as faithful stewards of the many-colored tapestry of God's grace. And so he's talking about that as we are approaching the end of time, that there is a certain way, that a certain posture that we should take. And certainly these qualities should be in our life as Christians always. But he's especially pointing at the end of times. And he says we should be intentional, purposeful, self-controlled, given to prayer, above all, have intense love, and operate in the gifts of God. And so we need to do a self-examination here and check ourselves. Are we intentional? In other words, are we being deliberate about what we're doing right now? There's a move of God, and I want to participate in this move. I don't want the move to pass me by. And so in order to participate in this move, I have to be deliberate in my actions. How am I willing to stretch myself in the gifts of the Holy Spirit, in my prayer life, in my walk with God? I need to be deliberate and calculated in it and purposeful. In other words, I need to have a purpose. I need to have a goal set. And, when God apprehended you for a purpose. And Paul said, I apprehend that for which I've been apprehended for. So you find out what your purpose is and you put yourself in that position, in this move of God. And when he says he apprehends it, that means he seizes it, he possesses it, he makes it his own. So what's your part in this move of God? What has God told you to do? Be deliberate about it, calculate about it, apprehend it, seize it, and press towards that goal. And give yourself to prayer. It doesn't matter how intentional we are. It does not matter how purposeful we are. If it is not saturated in prayer, then we'll get into works of the flesh. And so we give ourselves to prayer. And above all of that, we walk in intense love. And if we walk in intense love, it will cause us to stretch ourselves in the gifts of the Holy Spirit because they carry the love of God to those that we have to do with. And so I just want to encourage you, child of God, just to check yourself and make sure that you're being deliberate, that you are being purposeful, that you are giving yourself to prayer, that you are just coming up higher and higher in your love walk, and you are stepping out in the gifts of God. We're in this move together. I love you, and I look forward to being with you again on Monday.